Your Imperial Majesty, the foreign gold merchants are growing impatient. They demand an answer today.
Every coin from those merchants tightens their grip on our throne.
The treasury is empty. The garrisons haven't been paid in months. If you don't sign, there will be riots.
And if we do sign, we become vassals of foreign banks. There must be another way.
There is no other way. The mines are dead. Everyone knows it.
A dust-caked messenger burst through the iron doors, a scroll in his shaking hand. He fell to his knees, gasping. The scroll read, "Your Majesty, a laborer named Kazu claims the garnet shafts still hold gold. He begs only a chance to prove his modern methods."
A laborer. This is absurd. The mines have been dry for 10 years. You'd trust a peasant's fantasy.
At this point, I'd trust a ghost. Prepare my personal guard. I leave for the garnet mine at dawn.
And so, the Emperor placed his last gamble on a stranger's word, setting forth to a mine the world had abandoned. Far to the north, in the shadow of the garnet mine, a young laborer opened eyes that remembered another life. In another world, a 33-year-old mining engineer had been crushed by a falling ceiling. His name was Kosuke. His mind survived.
This body, these hands, I am not who I was. But I remember everything.
By day, a burly foreman snarled orders. Kazu hauled rock like the rest, his engineer's soul screaming at the waist. But when the others rested, Kazu studied the dark, overgrown shafts. What he saw made his heart pound.
They gave up because they couldn't drain the water. But the rock, the grain, the color. This is low-grade ore, full of gold, with a water wheel pump, a stamp mill, mercury amalgamation. I could extract 10 times what they ever saw.
The overseer was a desperate man, they said. Fair, but worn down by years of failure. Kazu knew this was his only chance.
Tomorrow, I'll tell him everything. Even if they laugh, even if they throw me out.
A laborer who had died once prepared to risk his second life on a single, impossible claim. In the cold pre-dawn, Kazu crushed a lump of ore against a flat rock. Tiny gold flecks caught the lantern's light.
Exactly as I remembered. Low grade, but with the right processing. Pure profit.
A laborer demands my time. Speak, or I'll have you thrown out.
Overseer, I've studied the old shafts. With a pump and proper shoring, I can reach the gold.
The shafts are flooded. We've tried for years. What do you know that our masters missed?
A water wheel pump, timber shoring, and a stamp mill. I can build them all from local timber.
Build them? We're bankrupt. My men haven't been paid in 2 months. 1 shaft, 1 month. If you bring up mud, you'll be flogged and exiled.
A flogging. I've died once already. This is just another gamble.
With no resources and only skeptics at his back, he stepped into the dark shaft, ready to prove the world wrong. Deep in the shaft, Kazu measured the rock face with a wooden protractor, his eyes tracing ancient geological lines. On the dusty road above, a modest caravan halted. A tall, silver-haired man in a merchant's cloak surveyed the camp. Below, the young laborer knelt and drew intricate machines in the dirt, his hands moving with impossible knowledge.
So this is the ghost chaser. He draws like a guild master.
That night, the caravan leader slipped into Garen's hut alone. The lantern nearly dropped from the overseer's hand.
Your Majesty, forgive me. I would have prepared.
Rise. I didn't come for ceremony. I came to see the man who sees gold where my nobles see ruin. Give him every timber, every man, every hour of daylight. And tell no one I was here.
Strange. Suddenly I've got all the timber I asked for. Did Garen finally believe me?
And so, with the full weight of an empire hidden behind a commoner's gamble, the true work began. 3 weeks of sawing, Hauling and hammering later, the water wheel pump stood complete beside the river, its great wheel groaning into motion.
The shaft is breathing again. Give it a week, and we'll reach rock no one has touched in a decade.
Master Kazu, the old men said this was impossible. They called you a fool behind your back.
Let them call me what they want. Once we hit the vein, their tune will change.
But on the fourth day, a rotted support beam snapped. A section of the roof collapsed onto the workers below.
You said your shoring would hold. Rill is bleeding and the crew wants your head.
The old shoring failed. Not mine. I told you we needed to reinforce it. Let me fix this.
Kazu worked through the night, personally resetting every timber brace. At dawn, Leon found him collapsed against a beam.
It'll hold now. No one else gets hurt under my watch.
The accident silenced the loudest mockers, but it planted a darker doubt. Could any amount of modern knowledge overcome old rotten luck? Kazu's shoring method spread through the tunnel like a new language. Vertical air shafts drew the stale poison up and out.
Without ventilation, men drown in their own breath. These crosscuts keep the air moving.
I've never breathed this deep underground. It's like the mountain itself is waking up.
In the capital, Lord Malvis received a merchant's report. The garnet mine was not silent, and his gold profits were bleeding.
If that pit produces real gold, the Emperor won't need my foreign imports. This laborer must be stopped. Go to the garnet camp. Pose as a laborer. If that engineer so much as coughs up a fleck, I want to know.
A week later, a quiet man with calloused hands joined the morning shift. He asked no questions, but his eyes missed nothing. The spy watched Kazu demonstrate a new drill brace, memorizing every word, every gesture.
Leon, mark these depths. If I am right, the vein will widen here into something the old diggers never dreamed of.
The Empire's worst enemy now had ears inside the camp, and malice waiting to ignite. On the 12th day, Kazu's pick struck a ragged quartz seam. Inside, gold threaded like frozen lightning.
A vein, thin, but it proves the mountain still holds wealth. Garen needs to see this.
When the nugget was placed in Garen's weathered palm, the old overseer's hand trembled. His eyes glistened.
10 ounces, more than this camp has seen since my father's time, but it won't fill the treasury.
We go deeper, and we crush the waste rock the old miners threw away. There's more gold in those tailings than in this vein.
Tailings? That's just dirt. But you've been right so far. Do it. But if this fails, the cost will bury us.
2 nights later, Leon rose to fetch water. A shadow moved near the tool shed, the quiet new laborer slipping out with a folded paper.
He's not from the camp. He's reporting. Someone is watching us. Kazu, there's a spy among us. I saw him sneaking away with a message. He must be reporting to someone.
Someone powerful wants this mine dead. Fine. Let them watch. I'll give them something to report.
Within a fortnight, the stamp mill stood below the water wheel, its iron-shod weights crushing the waste rock into powder.
Mercury catches gold like a magnet. Stir the crushed ore with it, and the metal separates, pure.
The crucible tipped. Molten gold, blazing orange, stretched into the ingot mold.
23 ounces from tailings the old diggers dumped. This is just the start.
Hear me. The garnet mines flow again. The crown will take its gold from its own earth, not foreign merchants.
Too much success. If that engineer fills the treasury, our foreign gold contracts turn to ash.
That night, in Lord Malvis's private chamber, 3 noble heads bent toward a single purpose.
We need an accident, something that buries his reputation and his shaft permanently.
The Emperor's favor is a candle. It can light the way, but it also draws moths. I must build faster.
The mine roared with new hope. But among the rich and ruthless, a plot had begun to coil. Over 2 years, The garnet mine poured a river of gold into the empire's coffers, but relief was slow to reach the streets. Hungry crowds smashed a noble's carriage.
The foreign contracts I bled for are worthless. That engineer has stolen everything. A collapse in the right place would look like bad luck. Do this, and you'll never need wages again.
The supervisor took the bulging purse without hesitation, greed silencing his loyalty.
Why is the section chief counting gold coins behind the timber shed?
At dawn, Leon found a torn note with a broken seal caught among the weeds.
Flood the upper gallery, night shift. This is a sabotage order.
If they flood the wrong wall, the shaft collapses. I must find who's behind this.
In the capital, a spider felt a tug on its web and smiled, certain the threads would hold. In the upper gallery, the bribed supervisor worked a crowbar under a vital timber. The wood groaned a wet, splintering protest.
Back away from the brace. Leon, restrain him.
Kazu checked the timbers. 3 had been pried loose. One more push, and the roof would have crushed a dozen miners.
Who paid you? A laborer doesn't count gold coins behind a shed at midnight.
The supervisor said nothing, but his trembling lips spoke of terror deeper than any threat Kazu could make.
This wasn't just a cave-in, the last overseer. He reported a massive vein, then died in an accident 2 days later.
If the old reports were suppressed, there might be a copy. Somewhere in the camp archives.
In a dusty storeroom, Kazu found a locked chest. Inside, a bundle of survey logs, the margins crowded with desperate handwriting. The vein widens beyond measurement. Lord M demands silence. If this reaches the Emperor, I am a dead man. The previous overseer had been silenced, not by collapse, but by a conspiracy that now had Kazu in its sights. Beneath the logs, a leather-bound ledger. Its entries listed payments from House Malvis to the old overseer's family.
Garen, look, House Malvis. The same mem from the diary. They paid to keep the mine silent.
Malvis. He stood before the Emperor 10 years ago and swore the mines were barren. He orchestrated this from the start.
So, the Empire's poverty was planned. But I have only paper, no living voice. Malvis will crush me if I move too soon. We can't go to the Emperor yet. Malvis will claim forgery. We need living proof, or a confession.
If Malvis suspects we have these notes, he'll send soldiers, not saboteurs. We'll all be dead before we reach the capital.
Then we give him a reason to act rashly. Announce a discovery so rich, he'll have to come into the light.
In the capital, Lord Malvis received a disheartening report. The bribed supervisor had been caught, and the mine still flowed gold.
If the engineer won't die by accident, then flood the mine. I don't care how many bodies wash out.
And so, with the noose tightening around them, the engineer who had died once began to lay a trap for the nobles who thought him already buried. By noon the next day, a rumor swept through the camp like a dust devil. Kazu had struck a golden seam, so wide, a man could walk into it.
Master Kazu, the story is racing toward the capital. Every merchant and courier carries it.
Good. Now we prepare for the storm. Every shadow I've hidden will have its use.
In the deepest gallery, he hung a water-level sensor, a brass float, and a bell that would scream at the first surge of unnatural water. He also carved an emergency shaft from an old fissure, hiding it with a false rock door that swung on oiled hinges. A week later, a herald in imperial purple unfurled a decree before the assembled camp. Kazu was named Master of the Garnet Mines.
Serve well, Master Kazu. The Empire breathes on your gold.
In the capital, Lord Malvis received the same decree. His chalice shattered against the wall.
A title. He'll need a tomb. Send the flood. Bury him and his golden dreams together.
Thus, the bait shone bright, and the predator, blind with rage, coiled to strike straight into the trap. 2 days after the decree, under a moonless sky, 3 figures slipped into the garnet camp.
Break the sluice gates. Open the reservoir. The mountain's own water will swallow him.
The saboteurs crept to the upper water channels. Iron bars bit into the ancient control levers. With a groan of straining timber, the reservoir poured its tons into the shaft. In the camp, Leon jolted awake. The gravely roar echoed from the mine's mouth.
The flood! They did it! Kazu is still inside.
Deep in the gallery, the brass bell of Kazu's sensor cut through the darkness like a shriek.
Get to the emergency shaft. Move.
He shoved the false rock aside. The hidden ladder gleamed in the lantern light, a way out, but the roar behind him was deafening. The flood had swallowed the main tunnel. The race for survival had begun. Kazu herded the panicked miners toward the rope ladder, the frigid water already tugging at their knees.
Climb. Don't look back. Leon, get up there. That's an order.
He braced himself at the base, counting heads, while the flood slammed debris against his back. A burly miner slipped on the wet rungs. Kazu lunged and heaved him upward with a roar.
The gold, still in the cart. If I go back, I die. And so does the proof against Malvis.
Master Kazu, the water's at your chest. Climb.
Kazu grabbed the rungs and pulled himself free of the torrent, just as the ladder shuddered under a new surge. His soaked gloves slipped, but he locked his arm through a rung and dragged upward. Boot by boot, dawn light struck his face. He rolled onto the rocky outcrop, gasping the pit below still roaring with black water. Voices, terrified, enraged, rose from the shaft. Malvis's saboteurs had followed the water in.
If they drown, the truth dies with them. But if I hold this door open, the camp floods.
He saw the stone door over the shaft, ajar. The emergency ladder, their only escape, was still lowered.
Forgive me. I have to trap them. The camp's survival hinges on it.
With a grunt, he threw his weight against a massive timber, wedging it into the door's groove. Below, fists hammered against the wood. Desperate voices offered confessions in exchange for rescue.
Talk? After you drowned the shaft? Your words are cheap, but I'll still take them to the Emperor.
He drove the wedge home. The door dropped with a thunderous crack, plunging the shaft into silence. He stumbled backward. The flood's roar now muffled. The mine's entrance vomited a final surge of black water. Garen found him collapsed, eyes fixed on the sealed rock. The proof of conspiracy lay trapped below, alive. The flood receded, leaving a wasteland of broken timber and drowned carts. Garen pulled Kazu to his feet among the wreckage. Kazu's hand shot out, gripping the overseer's arm. His other pointed at a severed pipe half buried in mud.
Look, those aren't fracture marks. Someone cut this pipe in advance to flood the shaft.
Then it's true. This wasn't an accident. It was sabotage. We have to tell the Emperor immediately.
Lien's voice rose from the emergency shaft exit, hoarse and urgent.
We pulled them out. 2 of them. They're alive, and 1 won't stop talking. He shouted, Lord Malvis ordered us.
Good. Bind them and load them onto a cart. They'll confess to the Emperor or hang in silence.
Garen stared at the broken pipe, then at the captured men. Despair warred with a dangerous hope.
Malvis will claim we tortured them. The court won't believe a miner's word.
Then I'll make them see the saw marks I found. No one disbelieves physical proof. We ride at dawn.
A lone rider, drenched in mud, galloped through the Capitol gates. His horse collapsed, but the scroll in his fist was still dry. In his chamber, Lord Malvis read the report. His face went pale. The engineer lived.
Clear a carriage. Now, we leave for the northern border before that upstart reaches the palace.
But at the city's east gate, Imperial guards blocked the road. Word had arrived faster than his gold could travel. Emperor Aldrich stood before his empty throne, a heavy scroll from Garen in his hand. His voice echoed through the silent hall.
Summon the court. Every noble will witness what I decide today.
The great doors swung open. Malvis strode in, unshackled still, his chin high but his eyes skittered across the crowd.
Your Majesty, I demand justice for these slanderous accusations against my house.
Another set of doors creaked open. The room fell silent. Kazu, still in his torn miner's clothes, walked the long aisle.
Your Majesty, I bring not just gold, but proof of murder, and the testimony of the men who tried to drown us.
Kazu lifted the cut pipe high. The saw marks showed white and deliberate against the iron.
Every carpenter here knows a saw from a fracture. Someone cut the floodgate pipe days before the disaster.
A bound saboteur, pale and dripping water still, thrust his chained hands toward Malvis and screamed. Lord Malvis paid us. He said to flood the shaft and kill everyone inside. The words echoed in the silent hall.
Lies, torture, a common miner would never.
A noble co-conspirator, white-faced, staggered forward. He fell to his knees before the throne. Malvis promised us fortunes from imported gold. I have the letters. Dated, sealed, undeniable.
Enough. Malvis, your rank is gone. Your name will rot in the dungeon that held your victims.
Guards seized the former lord. His gold chain was ripped from his neck, clattering across the stone. The Empire's most cunning spider was dragged from the hall, his web of corruption finally torn. The silence left by Malvis's screams was broken by the Emperor's steady voice.
From this day, Kazu of Garnet is Imperial Master of Mines. His methods will be law in every shaft and tunnel of this empire.
Your Majesty, I accept, but the true genius lies in the earth, and in the men who dare dig for it.
That afternoon in the royal forge, a fresh gold ingot was laid before the master stamper. The heavy press descended with a hiss of steam. Genius pressed into the gold, a seal of innovation. Kazu lifted the stamped bar high, his headlamp thrown back, his dirt-streaked face lit with quiet triumph.
This is the first bar of the new era. Let it be proof that knowledge can save a kingdom.
In the capital square, crowds roared, throwing petals. The Empire, for the first time in a decade, felt the touch of real hope. The treasury, empty for so long, began to feel the weight of its own gold once more. And the engineer who had died once now watched over a realm reborn, with a single stamped word as his legacy. Kazu returned to the Garnet camp, not as a laborer, but as Imperial Master, a cadre of engineers at his heels.
Drain the flood damage and install sensors in every shaft. This will never happen again.
Leon, now a wiry young foreman, directed the timber crews. His voice carried the same iron as the base of a well-built brace.
To think I almost had you flogged. Now I brag that I listened to a madman.
In a stone hall, Kazu chalked diagrams of pumps and shoring. Dozens of new engineers bent over their slates. A map of the Empire now bore golden markers. Every mine adopting his methods reported record yields within a season. The Imperial vaults, empty husks for a decade, groaned under the weight of stacked gold bars. Commoners who once rioted now saw their children apprenticing in the trade that saved the realm.
One man's knowledge, shared freely, can raise an entire nation. That's the true genius.
The Empire, once bankrupt and bleeding, now stood as the wealthiest gold power on the continent. Years later, the Imperial Master returned to where all of it began, the Garnet Mine, its slopes alive with industry and laughter. He walked the reinforced tunnels, his fingers tracing the cold genius's stamp on a freshly cast gold bar. Lian, now a seasoned foreman, intercepted him at the sorting floor, a slate of schedules under his arm.
You've trained them well, Lian. They walk the mine like they were born to it.
They were master. Just as you taught me, knowledge shared is a vein that never runs dry.
He climbed alone to the rocky outcrop above the east shaft, the same ledge where he crawled from the flood.
From a dead world to a dying empire. And now, Was it worth it? Every scar, every night awake. Yes, 1,000 times yes.
Below, the mine he had saved glittered with endless gold, and the empire it sustained stretched peaceful to the horizon. The engineer from another world found his place, not in the gold he unearthed, but in the lives his knowledge rebuilt. He descended the familiar slopes and entered the heart of the mine, where bars of gold were stacked like silent history. He stopped before a cart loaded with the day's pouring, each ingot hot with the stamp of innovation. He lifted one, the letters Genius catching the lantern light as they once caught the hope of a dying empire.
In another world, I was just Kosuke, an engineer buried in a collapse. Here, I became something more.
His knowledge became the bedrock beneath an empire that had learned to trust in its own earth again. And so, the man who had died so that others might live, lived himself a second life worth 2 of the first. He smiled, a quiet, full smile, and placed the bar back among its siblings, a simple piece of an endless chain. The light from 1,000 lamps played on the gold, and the mine echoed with the steady rhythm of shafts that would never again fall silent. In that moment, the empire was not saved by gold alone, but by the genius who taught it to find its own. He was the genius who saved an empire.